Pop culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on the Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, sunshine. How are you doing? Isn't it crazy that we are already on Thursday? I kid you not. Maybe it's just because I had a massive migraine yesterday, but when I woke up this morning and I found out that it was already Thursday, I was shocked. I said, where the heck has the week gone? I thought I was waking up to a Wednesday, but alas. I'm feeling so much better, by the way, you guys. After I finished the morning report yesterday, I went to go outside, get some fresh air, get some sunlight, do a little bit of grocery shopping, came back, put everything in the fridge, in the cupboard, and just slept until 4 in the morning. And that's exactly what I needed. I finally feel good. And when I was telling y'all yesterday that I've just been having a migraine like every single day of the week, I don't know what it is. I think I discovered it's the glasses. Y'all know I have those Meta glasses and I'm not a glasses wearer, but I have them because I love them. I listen to music on them. I take pictures, videos on them, but I think it's that's been giving me a headache. More on that later. Good morning, Caroline. We've got Angie in the house, Jaleesa, Ashley, Acacia, Tadisha, Theo, Nikki, Venetia, Kahara, Jessica's back. Hey, girl. Shem Jem. What does Shem Jem say? She needs a nap already. Tell me about it. I hear you. I hear you. Look, Angie's just finding out that it's Thursday. Right? The week just flew by. Theo, so sorry to hear about your headache. I hope you feel better soon. It's the worst. It really, really is. Good morning, Christiane. Nice to see you. And thanks so much. Thank you. I just washed it and curled it today. So I'm on this regimen where I wash. I'm typically supposed to wash on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but because I did not work out on the Tuesday this week, I said, okay, let me push to Thursday, then I'll go again on Saturday. So thank you. And then I curled the bayang right here. Hi, Ray. Nice to see you. So nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so nice to have you here. I don't know if I said hi. Good morning to you too, Cynthia, but it's nice to have you. Shayna's here. Nice to see you as well. Ronnie's here. And Shauna, you guys. Why don't we jump into the day's hottest stories? Oh, hang on. We got an update from Venetia. Let me see what Venetia has to say. So sorry. Venetia, what did you say? Sorry to miss the live yesterday because my husband was in the hospital, but he's doing better and will be coming home today. So sorry to hear about your husband, Venetia. Oh my goodness. I'm glad that things are looking up and that he will be coming home as well. Guys, let's keep Venetia's husband and her family in our prayers, okay? By the way, you guys, you can see the light coming in through these windows. This is 2 sets of windows here. And so I left the curtains open and everything because it is a beautiful day. We've got sun. Thank you, Kathy. I struggle through the winter, but now that the sun is back, I feel like myself again. I'm so happy. Hey, Monica. Hey, Kristen. So we got so much to talk about. I wanted to start off with the Justin Bieber story. So oftentimes when people talk about Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez, just still kind of pining for each other, I go, come on, guys, get over it. They were children. Look at them in this photo. This was a lifetime ago, right? Get over it. Get over it. Justin's been married for going on a decade almost. Selena's engaged to Benny Blanco, right? They've moved on. But Justin Bieber was crashing out on Instagram again yesterday, and I couldn't help but notice that it seemed as though this time, maybe, just maybe, he really was talking about Selena Gomez because she recently got engaged, right? So why else would he post this kind of a video on his Instagram feed? It's the guy from Lord of the Rings. Who is this? I don't watch the Lord of the Rings. This is like the Dobby for you guys. What is that? Who is this guy? The guy who gets the ring, the little gremlin, and just so excited about getting the ring, my pretty and whatnot. Who else just recently got engaged that he would be potentially talking about? other than his ex-girlfriend, Selena Gomez. I don't know what's happening with him. I think some of these Instagram stories are still live. So if you guys head over to his Instagram, you probably should still be able to see them if they haven't expired yet or if he hasn't deleted them yet. And there were so many. I only chose 2 for today's morning report because we do not have time to get into everything that he put out there. Then he posted this video of Doja Cat, and then the caption of the meme said, "Me acting psycho daily when I'm just a sweet, cute, innocent girl who crashes out sometimes." I don't know. Something's going on with Justin Bieber. And we talked about this earlier in the week. Earlier in the week, it didn't have anything to do with his crash out, didn't have anything to do with it, but he was showing up on Instagram looking very, very high out of his mind. And it just seems like he's not in a good place. I'm worried about him. I hope that he's got people around him who are encouraging him to seek help. But I don't know. I really don't know. Does he want to get help? It doesn't look like it. Good morning, Allie. Nice to see you. Thanks, guys. Golem. Yes, that is who it is. And it's so funny because we talk about Golem so much in with respect to Ashley Darby from the Real Housewives of Potomac, right? Like we're talking about when we talk about her husband. Well, people, I've never called him this because I don't know Lord of the Rings, right? But people would call him Golem. So I've always heard the word, but I forgot that it was this guy. Thank you. Venetia gives us a health update about her husband. She says he had trouble breathing and a stomach virus. He's doing better and will be home today. Oh, Lord have mercy. These viruses are just so harsh these days. I've been hearing about something about a neurovirus as well. Like, have you guys been touched by that? I hope not. You know, I'm knocking on wood that that's not the case, but it feels like there's always something going around. Thanks so much for keeping us posted, Venetia. We're going to continue to hope for the best for him, okay? Shemtum says, I never thought Justin was actually over Selena, but who knows? We don't know these people, right? It feels, I don't know. You know, him getting married to Haley kind of reminded me of Naya Rivera, rest her soul, getting married to her son's father because it was very quick, right? She was in a long-term relationship with Big Sean. Big Sean had proposed to her. They were supposed to get married on a certain date, but they broke up. And what did she do? She replaced him like that with her son's father. And then they got married on that date. It was very rushed. And then the marriage, of course, imploded. Like that's the vibe I always got. However, I do have to say that I'm so surprised that Justin and Haley have stayed married this long. Like it, to me on the outside looking in, it doesn't look, you know, for Haley's sake, it doesn't look like the greatest marriage or like relationship or whatever. But something's working there for them to be, you know, still at it all these years later. It's been like 7 going on 8 years for them. Shayna says, I've also seen claims that Bieber is crashing out, scared he's going to be linked to Diddy. You know what? And I have heard that as well, right? And I think this is something we talked about when he was seemingly high on Instagram stories. People were saying, listen, maybe just everything that's come out with like the Diddy of it all and him being linked to it and potentially information about him and what might have happened to him, if anything happened to him, because we don't know. Maybe these are things that are haunting him right now. And I remember thinking maybe just any trauma in general, because I think he had a really rough childhood even before he got discovered. Maybe those things are bubbling to the surface for him, or maybe just the way he was treated in the industry by a lot of people, including some women in Hollywood. Jenny, I forgot her name again. I think it's Jenny McCartney and people like that. Maybe it's that type of stuff. I don't know, but it seems like it's very bad. He's really going through it. And I hope that they get him into some sort of therapy to get help, because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And things like this typically do not end well. Good morning, Bree. Nice to have you here. Ali says, not him having Tupac in the stories. Respectfully, take him out the group chat. What is it with everybody referencing Tupac always, right? Like, you know, you saying this reminds me of remember when Kendall Jenner was asked who her spirit animal is, and she said it was Tupac? Girl, what? And then remember, for those of you who watch Vanderpump Rules, the way that Lala would say the same thing, like, you know, she's Tupac reincarnated, like she loves Tupac. Like, why is it always Tupac with these people? Why? Right? And Brie, that's why I'm so surprised that that Haley has stayed married to him for this long, because he just doesn't seem that nice to her. He doesn't treat her like he even likes her. Oh, Ronnie says he looks like he relapsed, right? Like it could be anything. I don't know what happened to this guy, but he's not looking good. Can anybody pinpoint when this might have potentially started? Because it's been going on for quite a while. And she says he's feeling like he made Selena feel all those years ago. He can't handle it now that the shoe's on the other foot. Ooh, maybe that's it. He wasn't the best boyfriend to her when he was dating her. And then he never would let her leave. Anytime she'd leave the relationship, he'd be, remember when he like was showing up like at her gate trying to be let into her house and everything? Like, he's one of those guys. And we all know those kinds of guys, right? Like they don't act right in the relationship. And so when you know, en français, on dit quand tu prends tes clics et tes claques, when you take your things and leave, they're rushing to drag you back in because they don't want you necessarily, or they don't want to do right by you, but they don't want someone else to treat you well, you know? And it's very, very, very sad. Very sad. And yes, thank you for clarifying. No, people look at him more as a potential victim because he was a child when all of that stuff came out, right? And so I think maybe he's afraid that if he was potentially victimized in the Diddy situation, maybe that will come out. You know, and I don't think if that happened, that's something that he would want to have come out. Kristen says, I feel like he's going down the path of Aaron Carter. Oh, I remember Aaron Carter. Rest his soul as well. Rest his soul as well. Yeah, he was spiraling really hard too. He was. All that glitters isn't gold. You know, you always hear about everybody wanting to be a child star or this or that. Look at the way these people end up. It's a very, very ugly, very, very brutal industry. So, you know, if you have kids who want to be stars or whatever, please warn them of the dangers, you know, in an age appropriate way, of course. Hey, Jazz, nice to see you. Now let's see what else we've got on. Oh God, Kanye West. Let me take another sip of water because we're going to get into the Kanye West story, and it is ugly. This man, you remember how he did that interview just the other day with Whackademics? Thank you to, I think it was Tadisha who gave me that name for academics. So he did this interview with Whackademics. He opens the door and he is wearing a swastika necklace and a t-shirt that says Sean John, which is P. Diddy's brand. And then he changes. He goes, you know what? This isn't, you know, egregious enough. So he changes. And he puts on like a black KKK, like Klansman suit, right? And now he's back and he went through his favorite buddy, Whackademics, who, mind you, recently got banned from Twitch. Thanks, Sheena. Recently got banned from Twitch temporarily because he admitted to having inappropriate conversations with a minor. He was having sexually explicit conversations with a minor on the platform. And this is who Kanye is buddying up with. He is just making bad decision on top of bad decision on top of bad decision, right? So apparently Kanye sent him some previews to some of like the new songs on his new album. Trash. In one of the songs, he admits that his alleged wife, Bianca Censori, broke up with him. In fact, she escaped him like a thief in the night. God willing, her tell-all is coming soon. I don't think I've ever heard this girl speak in my life. And I think we're going to hear her speak and speak a lot now that she has gotten away from him. Apparently, she took the Maybach car. She tried to get him committed. And I'm sorry to your ears in advance, but we're going to listen to some of his music detailing what happened when Bianca Censori finally left him. Okay. So it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clips that were premiered on Whackademics stream. And shout out to, I think it was Hollywood Unlocked for capturing these videos. Okay, so take a look. Continue, if you're watching live, continue to leave your thoughts in the live chat. I will be putting them up on the screen. If you're part of my playback posse, let us know in the comment section what you think about these clips. The song is awful. I'm shocked that it's even Kanye on it, but more on that later.
By the way, chat, this is an all true story. I heard the story, man. I heard my boy Ye had to track her ass on the goddamn Maybach app. She took the Maybach and was out. That nigga was on the app panicking. Was that supposed to say? Oh, yeah. It's okay.
Bianca, I just want you to come back. Come back to me.
No rap caps, let's go.
I know what I did to make you mad. Bianca, I just want you to come back. Come back to me. Want you to come back to me. Want you to come back. My baby, she ran away. way, but first she tried to get me committed.
Not going to the hospital, cause I am not sick, I just cannot get it.
She want me to say when I finish.
So that's 2 clips down. We're going to get to the rest later. But he says that she ran away. He had to track her through the Cars app, the Maybach app. She tried to have him committed. She was not happy about the things that he tweeted. So previously we had heard some people, some sources say that she had similar views to Kanye and that when she was working for Yeezy, she was very problematic as well. But now we're finding out that maybe that's not the case. Maybe for her, she's fed up with the way that he is behaving in public, ruining his name, his brand, and her name and her potential brand by extension as well. I have to say I'm happy that she tried to get him committed because that's what he needs, right? It shows that she might actually care about this person and want for this person to seek help and find themselves in a better place. Of course, it didn't work. This is Kanye West, right? He's extremely egotistical, extremely rich. And, you know, when you're up against that, it's really hard for you as a normal person to be able to force them to follow through with the program, right? So let's continue. Oh, by the way, did you see the track list? Pay attention to the track list when I continue to put up the rest of the clips, okay? Because you're going to see other songs that he has on the album. Right now, we're only listening to the one about him begging for Bianca back, but the other songs are going to be named things like Cosby, Hail, this sort of stuff. There's 2 songs about Hitler. You know, he has really jumped the shark. And he is never, ever, ever coming back. And again, the song is trash. You wouldn't even know it was his real voice on it. Let's keep going.
I'm making a skirt when I'm in it. She's having a panic attack and she is not liking the way that I tweet it. Until Bianca's back, I'll stay up all night, I'm not going to sleep. I really don't know where she's at. I'm tracking my bitch through an app. I'm tracking my bitch through the city. I guess we the new Cassie and Diddy. I'm making this song for Bianca. I'm feeling the spirit of thunder. Apparently they...
That bar was so fire, I didn't even know whether to applaud or be like, oh, nah.
So what does he mean when he says that he and Bianca are the new Cassie and Diddy? With what we know about Diddy and his relationship with Cassie, through Cassie and her lawsuit, it's almost like he's foreshadowing a potential lawsuit from Bianca. Is Bianca making similar allegations against Kanye? You remember the way she turned up to the Grammy Awards, completely nude under her jacket. She had to drop the jacket and pose completely nude, right? In the Empress dress. Is that something that she's going to claim was against her wishes and that she was forced to do and that she was perhaps threatened if she didn't do it? Are there freak-offs happening at the West Mansion? I personally wouldn't be surprised. I think we're going to have to circle back to this song one day in the future, if and when Bianca were to file a sort of lawsuit against Kanye West. What else is being said?
The bar was so fire, I didn't know whether to like it or not.
I'm tracking my bitch through an app. I'm tracking my bitch through the city. I guess we the new Cassie and Diddy. I'm making this song for Bianca. I'm feeling the spirit of thunder. Apparently they want me locked up. They want me to go on retreat. They want me to run and meet. They want to run and meet. She hopped in the car and she ran. My bitch just don't understand. Sometimes I just feel like it's planned. Cause I know that everyone change up. Sometimes I hate being famous. I know that they think about killing me. That's why I got heavy artillery. Some niggas that voted for Hillary. Like nigga, you gotta be kidding me. Like nigga, you gotta be telling a joke. Not taking advice from a nigga that's broke. Bianca, I just want you to come back. Don't know what I did to make you mad. Bianca, I just want you.
In that last clip that I played for you guys, the audio, the voice, everything was so terrible that I couldn't even really make out what he said. But in the second last clip, he said that it wasn't just Bianca that wanted him committed or that was upset about the things that he had been saying publicly, but her family as well. Her family wants him committed. And he also knows that people really do not like him and might even want to end him. So he now is a little bit paranoid about that as well. And he's talking about walking around with heavy artillery. Very interesting stuff, right? Hey, Ramster, you're coming in at a very juicy time. And now this is the last clip I have from his drop, okay?
Want you to come back. Want you to come.
Start taking no advice from a nigga that's bro. Run it back! Yo, there was another version, but I told Ye, because you know Ye's still chopping up like this is back in the 90s.
I'm having a great time going through you guys' comments because y'all are not feeling this music at all, and I get it. I'm the same way. It sounds terrible. I wouldn't even know that was his actual voice. Like, it's crazy to think that this is the same guy who made Love Lockdown, who made Jesus Walks, who made When It All Falls Down, who made so many other incredible hits. Ramster says it sounds like the Smurf. Angie says it sounds like a playground hit, doesn't it? Like, it sounds like garbage. Not even just the terrible voice, but the lyrics are so basic that if it wasn't Wackademics previewing it, and we already know that Kanye loves this man, right? And Kanye wants to give this, sorry, Ali, we're done now though. And that Kanye wants to give this guy a bunch of exclusives, and he started with the interview. I would not have believed that this was Kanye. I would have thought that this was just AI, somebody trolling, because his reputation or whatever is in the garbage right now, right? Ali says, I rebuke this in the name of common sense, good taste of music, melanin, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Holy Ghost fire, as Wendy Osefo's mother would say. Ramster asks, what the F is wrong with this man? Bipolar, sure, but come on, what is this? Right? This has to be a step above that. It seems like bipolar mixed with narcissism, mixed with insane influence and wealth, and just a terrible personality and soul and spirit as well. Shauna says Kanye has freak offs 100%. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised. He's very open about being an ex-addict. He's very open about being a deviant of sorts. And we've heard and we've seen a lot of lawsuits come through about very disturbing things that he allegedly subjects people to against their wishes. And so I wouldn't be surprised if his alleged wife, Bianca Censori, were to come out swinging, demanding a lot of money in exchange for her silence or in the divorce, because, you know, I don't know how she even managed to last so long with him. I think she's been with him for 2.5, almost 3 years now. And that just sounds like hell on earth. I couldn't even last a day, 24 hours with this man. Cynthia feels bad for North. She loved her dad and he continues to disappoint. Someone lock him up, right? And I still can't get over what he said earlier this week about how he regrets having kids with Kim. He didn't want to have kids with Kim. He knew that after 2 months. And it's like, your kids are here. And like, typically if someone dislikes their co-parents, they say something like, oh, like, I regret who I had kids with, but I love my kids and I would never change that. Or some people, even if they dislike their co-parent, they say, listen, I really dislike this person, but if I wasn't with this person, I wouldn't have these kids and I love these kids a lot. So for him to say that, not even qualify it with anything about how he loves his children, was really, really harsh. And he knows that his daughter especially is very, very heavily online. So I'm sure she's already seen this by now. Love Michelle Leah says, my toddler literally started saying, uh-oh, when the trash started playing. Your toddler is a music connoisseur, and I am so sorry for offending their musical tastes with that garbage, because it was pure garbage. Tadisha says, Kanye is a horrible person. Mental health issues aside, I agree. I hate how often people try to hide his terribleness behind his mental health problems or behind the fact that his mother died. No, there are plenty of people with mental illnesses or who have one or more deceased parents who are not this way. None of that is a precursor to becoming an alleged Nazi, right? Or to saying things like slavery is a choice, or to being, very ableist and just hateful towards handicapped children. Like that has nothing to do with these things. April says, this is so embarrassing. Kanye was doing this before dating Bianca, so Bianca definitely agrees with him. But Kanye's money is long, and she knows as his wife, she's the only one that can lock him up. And I do agree as well that he did start with this slavery was a choice, this anti-Semitic stuff before he did get with Bianca as well. So, there is a certain level of, girl, what do you have going on if you would get with somebody like this, right? AD says he sounds like a dying cat. Oh my God, y'all are just too damn funny. Ashley says that he sounds like a TikTok video. Oof, it's bad. I think he needs to hang it up at this point. I do not see this music, this song, this album being a hit at all. Again, when you saw the track list over there were tracks like Cosby Jared, who I'm assuming is Jared Kushner. He had 2 songs about Hitler, all sorts of things like that. He has alienated everybody who could ever be a fan of his music at this point. And it's good luck to him on the way down. I don't know what he's going to do. Unfortunately, Ramster, I don't think it is. I too thought they were like, I was like, no, this has to be BS, but it's looking real. I don't know who's going to buy his music anymore moving forward. Circus Girl says he sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks trying to rap. Like, it just does not feel like him. This guy is supposed to be this, incredible genius level producer, songwriter, artist. And this is what he's coming out with now. Like, this is just woof, terrible. Good morning, Hamlet's princess. Nice to see you. So nice to have you here. And thank you so much, Katie. That is so nice of you. Thank you. Jasmine says, oh my God, Kanye actually, yes, he said that. And he was wearing his KKK outfit when he said it. And he's pulling the race card thing when he talks about Kim and her, taking away his Black children. And so he pretty much admitted that he sees them more as business entities of his. And he's upset that he no longer has any control over their business interests. And it was a very, very disturbing interview overall. Guys, I have to tell you something, actually. Something really weird happened yesterday. So I was minding my own business, listening to Farrah Abraham on this podcast. And I gotta tell y'all, I really do urge you guys to take a listen to this podcast. It's called Only Moms. And Farrah was talking about her life as a single mother, raising her daughter and whatnot. And it was so, maybe like something was up with me, because remember, yesterday I had a migraine, the migraine of all migraines. So I was listening to it. I had like my blanket over my head. I wanted something to listen to while I try to go to bed. And Farrah was 100% coherent in this interview. There were no word salads, no weirdness. Like, she spoke like a regular person. And I remember thinking, before I drifted off to sleep, I remember thinking, wait a minute, Farrah, like, she actually can speak like a regular person. Like, she's actually capable of it. Like, has this been an act this entire time? She even sounded, dare I say it, intelligent. Like, she really did. And that's why I really, really, behoove you guys to listen to this episode of Only Moms. It just came out yesterday and it was so good. I actually have to go back and re-listen to it because, again, I had a migraine. I wasn't, in note-taking mode, but she was really raw. She was open. She was vulnerable. She talked about the highs, the lows of her life in general and her life as a single mother, having an open relationship with Sophia. And there's something I remember her saying about Sophia. So y'all have seen Sophia lately, right? Her daughter Sophia has like this very like gothic, cool aesthetic going on. She even has like the snake bite piercings. She's got the big liner, like the purple and black hair, the like, the black clothes, everything is just so gothic, right? And so the podcast host was asking Farrah what she thought about that. And so Farrah said, listen, I am so happy that my daughter is spending her childhood just trying to carve out her identity. I think it's so important that parents allow their children to explore their identity at this point. Like, this is the time for them to do it, and to figure out who they want to be when they're older and whatnot, and just to have a certain level of freedom and bodily autonomy. And I was like, Farrah said this? That's crazy. I'm impressed with that podcast episode. I actually have to go back and re-listen to it because I was just so shocked by how just reasonable, how clear-headed she sounded. Remember, you guys, I tried to to read her book for my channel members. And that is the only teen mom book thus far that we had to put down because it was so nonsense. Allie, maybe it was. Maybe I was so sick that I was imagining things. That's, you know what? I have to go listen to it again. But from my recollection, like she sounded like a proper person. I was like, whoa, this is insane. I have never, ever heard Farrah sound like this, ever, right? Ever, ever, ever. It was crazy. I was like, has this been an act this entire time, like a shtick? Like, for example, the way she acts with her parents, right? Or people on the cast and crew of like her shows, like she's terrible, like Christiane is saying. However, when you go online, and you hear stories of people who've actually met her in person out and about, they will always tell you that she was so nice. I've never seen anyone really say anything, maybe one person say that she was like not nice to them in person. Like she's always apparently like really sweet to people, regular people that go up to her and just talk to her about like having seen her on Teen Mom or whatever. So that's really interesting stuff. Sheena says, I started rewatching Teen Mom OG from season 1. It's crazy to rewatch that in current time with all. Right. And I think it's so important to go back and look, you guys already know when it comes to Vanderpump Rules, I'm rewatching. I'm currently on season 6. I think it's just so interesting now knowing how everything ends up, right? Like for me, I'm like, oh, I want to see how Stassi met Bo. I don't even like Stassi, but I'm like curious because that's when I had stopped watching anyway. I want to see, because I was still watching when Lala had met that guy, Randall, but then she was making up all these lies. But then I stopped before like he really got introduced, then came back after he had already been introduced. So like now knowing that this guy, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so interesting. Like, what did I miss with Tom Sandoval? Because I always liked him. Like when I first was watching it, I was a Tom Sandoval stan. I was a Tom Schwartz hater. And it's just so interesting, to have that hindsight that we have now, right? Pep says, poor Sophia. Ooh. Rose, Acacia is surprised. Theo says, Farrah speaking coherently is breaking news. I'm cackling. And it's so sad, but it is. There was not a single moment of word salad there. And typically when Farrah speaks, you don't even know what the hell she's talking about, right? Because she really cannot form coherent sentences. But I don't know what happened here, but she was on point. April says, didn't Farrah have to do rehab after her assault charges? You think that's it? You think she was on drugs or something, or pills, and then she got off of it? I do remember she was doing a show called Something About the Truth, and then she had to get drug tested for it. And then she failed the testing. So maybe there was something up with that. I really have no idea, but I'm quite surprised, y'all. So it all says it gives Paris Hilton's fake voice / persona, right? Right? I think so too. Like maybe it's just like a shtick for her. I don't know. Just like Kenya Moore from Housewives of Atlanta. Apparently, we all know she's a villain on the show. However, in real life, apparently she's really sweet. Ramser, we're living in an alternate universe. Something is just so off with the world right now. And yes, Christiane, I absolutely will pop the balloon. And I'm really looking forward to talking about it with you guys. Thanks for reminding me. I think it comes out next week, right? I'm so damn excited. Now, you guys, I have a Michelle Obama story. I kind of have a bone to pick with her. And I'm disappointed about it because I like her, right? I like her. I chose this photo because it was such an inspirational moment to see them over there getting ready for their first dance out after Barack Obama was elected president. It was a huge, huge, huge moment, right? And so she's doing a podcast with her brother, and we'll get into that. But listen, I want to take a water break. I'm running out of water here, but we're going to talk about that, what Michelle Obama is saying. Cough, cough, data dusty. We're going to get into Meghan Markle's brand, as ever, selling out within the first hour. And Garcelle Beauvais' potential replacement for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We have someone that a lot of people had been asking to join our RHOBH, who is now stepping into the sphere to talk about it. And then we're going to talk about this guy from 90 Day Fiance. Do y'all remember him? I think he was from like season 1 or 2. Mike, who got married to Aziza, that very young Russian girl. Yeah. Trigger warning. He is a creep. And we're going to talk about that on the flip side after I fill my water bottle and we get a word from some of our sponsors. If you're enjoying today's morning report, please don't hesitate to go ahead and give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows to keep on recommending my videos to you. Catch you in 1 minute. The morning report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than RHOBH. RHOBH is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven age prevention benefits such as average 14% wrinkle reduction after 4 weeks of use. Click the link below and receive 30% off your first purchase today. All right, we're back. We got to jump into the Michelle Obama story because I'm really curious. In fact, I almost did a pre-report about this for my channel members, but I ran out of time because I was curling my one bang. I couldn't get the curl right, so it was bothering me, so I apologize. Let's get into this Michelle Obama story. So she and her brother have a podcast, and in it, she was kind of like encouraging girls to go and date like broke men or something like that. And I'm not a fan of it. Take a look, and then we'll discuss it on the flip side, okay? Here's the video.
If you had, and I'll say it to you too, would you be attracted to a guy who's not financially sound when you meet him?
I married one.
Don't you like that alley-oop I just threw?
Yeah. No, that was
in basketball. You just point. You don't even have to say. You just point and run down the court. And let me say one more thing before you give your answer. You have to admit, most of your sisterin, not just
women.
I'm talking about women in general. Typically, are not like you at that age. They're looking to catch. They're looking for a good catch.
Mm-hmm. And there's a clear definition of what a good catch is.
And to Jay's point about maybe you can find somebody who's attracted to the hunt with you, which I think is hard to find these days. If you disagree, feel free.
I mean, I think you make a good point, and I think we can't generalize across the board for women. And I think women are also confused about what they want and what they should be looking for in a mate. I have a lot of friends who will ding a guy because, he doesn't have a college degree. So there are a lot of people who aren't looking deep enough. They aren't thinking broadly enough about what makes for a good partner. And instead, we all just look at the superficial things. The first question we ask if we're on a blind date, so tell me, what do you do? Just starting with that question, arguably could put somebody on the defensive, because what are you looking for? Why is it the first place that we start? Are we trying to get some idea of how much money they make? And that definitely happens. And I think on the flip side with men, sometimes I think they're maybe a little bit too visual. I think there are a lot of women who are open to a lot of different kind of men and a lot of different kind of lifestyles. Women want a partner. They want to feel loved. They want to feel desired. They want to feel chosen. And I think a lot of women, I would tell Adrian, if you're just straightforward with who you are, you're going to find a mate. You're going to find somebody that wants to go on that journey with you and will be excited about it. And it might make taking the risks a little easier because you're not doing them alone. I left my corporate firm when I met Barack, and I had somebody who was like, I got your back. The risk you think you're taking, they're not that crazy. And I'm here to help you. That's when I said, I would rather have that in a partner than a higher income. I'd rather have somebody who was ready to do some hard things with me. But that meant I also had to be ready to do some hard things with him.
So what did you guys think about that? What did you guys think? Because when I saw her say, oh, like I married a man who was broke, stop. You married a man who was Harvard educated, not just any degree as well, right? He didn't go there, learn to play the triangle. He graduated from Harvard Law, and he was already working as like an articling student. And he was because I read her book Becoming. Y'all remember I went to her book tour Becoming when she went to Montreal. I took unplugging this mic. It is so delicate. So I like Michelle Obama. Like I read her book Becoming. In fact, I went to her book tour. I took my mom with me. I got us tickets to meet Michelle. Like I like her a lot. However, when she's sitting there saying, oh, like I married a guy who didn't make a lot of money. So like ladies should, stop asking. Like when Barack was introduced to Michelle, and I remember this part of the book, she said that the people who, introduced them told her that this guy was a Harvard educated articling student getting ready to become a lawyer, and that he was going to be the next big thing. He was so ambitious. He was so smart. He was so talented. So in my opinion, going out with that guy is not taking a risk, because Michelle is as well as somebody who went through that trajectory, right? I think she went to Princeton, being an Ivy educated lawyer, and then finding work. Like, that the level of ambition it takes to go down that journey. So to me, sitting there and saying, oh, like I got with him, he was broke. Like, no, I don't think so. Right. And I think a lot of the women who look to Michelle Obama for advice and just things like that are in our 30s, or are in their 40s right now, or even more. So we're already at this phase where we've done our education and we're looking for somebody who is equally yoked. So I don't know. I don't love when people say this. I just, I'm sorry. She didn't take a risk on this guy like she wants us to think that she did. She and her brother are both Ivy League educated. They both married educated people. If Barack just wanted to just vibe and not do much of anything, she would not have married him. She would not have gotten with him. I think that she's being a little bit, I don't know, misleading with this statement. And I don't like it, you guys. I don't. I think that especially with how ambitious women are these days, why can't we look for somebody who is as ambitious as we are? Right? Aaron says, yeah, from a small town, farmers and plumbers are the catch. LOL, there are no tech guys here. Just having a man who is faithful and comes home after work. That's goals here. But here's the thing. Farmers, they're business owners, aren't they? Like they own their farm. It's like a small business, whether they're selling, eggs, whether they're selling meat, whether they're selling fruits, vegetables, like that's a business. That's amazing, right? And they have all this land, like that's a huge thing. And then plumbers as well, they make a lot of money, and that could be a big business as well. So the guy doesn't necessarily have to have like this major education or anything like that, but those are ambitious men. Those are men who have money or can have money, right? As well. So to me, it's not even just like the title of the job of the person, it's the ambition level and just like where he's at in his life. Thank you, Francine. That is so nice of you. I think you're the first Francine I've ever seen. That is so cool. It reminds me of Arthur. That was like my favorite childhood show. Right, Aaron? Harvard education. He had, and like Kels is saying, he had so much potential. This man told her early on, before they were in a relationship, in one of their dates, he told her his ambition was to become the president of the United States of America. And you mean to tell me dating that man, and you already knew he was a superstar, and he tells you that that is what he wants with his life, that is a risk. And the man, he was able to support you so that you could step away from law because you didn't like being a lawyer. That was a risk. That's the broke man you're telling us to date. Stop it. Stop it. And I don't know if, and I would like for my ladies of other races to chime in here, but for myself as a Black woman, I feel like this is like a message that is always targeting us. I feel like Michelle's diehard fans are Black women, from what I've seen, right? And so I kind of almost feel like this is a message directed towards us. And I'm sick and tired of this being a message directed towards us. Do you guys remember Ebony from The Real Housewives of New York? Yes, she's super annoying, okay? However, someone was talking to her, like, would you date a bus driver or whatever? She's like, listen, I'm an Ivy League educated lawyer. I've been on television for decades. Why the hell would I be dating a bus driver? Right? Which I think is perfectly reasonable of her to say. But then people just kept on attacking her. She needs to lower her standards. She's this, she's that. Why is that always a thing when it comes to Black women? So I'm asking you guys. So if you are white, if you are Asian, East Asian, if you are South Asian, if you are Arab, if you are whatever else, do you guys get this kind of messaging pushed towards you? Are women of your particular race or ethnicity constantly saying things like, go for the broke guy? You know, don't have ambitions of being with someone on your level? Or is that just a thing that Black women face? Because I'm so over it. I truly, truly am. I never want to hear this again. Hamlet's Princess says, I get what she's saying. My husband is a fishmonger. And when we started dating, he was in debt. When we started dating, his mind changed and we worked together to get where we are now. You see, that's somebody where even if he had debt, he has potential. He has ambition. He wanted to make a plan, because I think, you know, even in his thing, it's similar to what I was talking about with like the plumbers, with the farmers. These are things where you have a potential to have a business out of it, right? And so maybe at first you're not starting off all that great, you know, all that financially fruitful, but there's so much potential there if the person is willing to put in the work. And that is the most important thing. It's the ambition. But again, I don't know how old you were when you started dating your husband, Hamlet's Princess, but I think the majority of people who are really following Michelle are early to mid 30s at the youngest, and then typically like in their 40s, 50s. So why should a woman who's very accomplished, you know, in her mid 30s, in her early 40s, mid 40s, early 50s, why should she be listening to this advice and going for a broke man, you know? Why? She did all the work. She's at this place. To me, at this point, at this age, if a man still is, you know, where he is and it's not, you know, caught up to you, is it ever going to get there? Are you going to be resentful of that eventually? We're all different, right? Like not every woman wants, you know, for a man to step up in these certain ways and financial ways. So it really depends. But again, I feel like this is something that is just overly marketed towards Black women, and I can't stand it. I can't. Michelle says they grew together, right? And they did, but they were both already successful. The man, he aced his way through Harvard. Law firms were fighting over him, and she was already working in law. So where was the risk? There was no risk. She made the smart move. Flower Lotus says, so she lied. It feels like she's being misleading. You know, I don't want to say she's lying, but it feels like she's being very, very misleading. Jaleesa says, when I met my partner, I was a nanny and he was a bartender. We were both in school and broke. Now he has a master's in engineering and I'm getting my master's in nursing. Ooh, wow. Good for you guys, Jaleesa. That is amazing. But he had a vision, right? Like he could have just stayed broke, you know, where he was at, or you could have. But he went on to study engineering. Like it's all about potential, for sure, for sure, for sure. But don't just get with someone who's broke and then try to change them, right? And their mentality or whatever. Maybe they just want to stay working like jobs that do not pay a lot, which is okay. But if you're in a different place in your life and you want to live life at a certain level and you need for your partner to meet you there, because otherwise you're going to be, you know, paying more in order to help lift this person to have these experiences with you. Think long and hard about what she's telling with you. Personally, I don't love this advice, right? Rad Rabbit says, unfortunately, the Obamas seem to do this. Obama out there vote shaming for people not excited about empty centrist Kamala. And then Aaron says, good point, Michelle, you got to pay your dues and work your way up in life. And life happens. Hamlet's Princess says, we both work together to accomplish our goals financially and for fun. Exactly, right? You know, and me too, Aaron. I'm loving these stories. It really sounds like you girls or you ladies found men who maybe they weren't like at the peak, but they had a vision, they had a plan. They weren't just going to settle for their bare minimum, because there are so many who will settle for the bare minimum. And I just, I'm not okay with that. I'm not. I'd rather be single. And y'all already know this. I would rather be single. If a man is not adding to my life, if a man is not getting me higher than I already am, I don't see the point. Aaron says, oh yes, the farmers are the rich ones here, tons of land and money. Exactly, right? Maybe they're not an engineer. Maybe they're not like the traditional jobs that people think about when they think about money and success and whatnot, but they are successful in their own right. And land, hello now, land is a huge deal, right? Especially as our populations, and it's not natural population, but immigration, this and that. We bring in more people and we need to start building more to house all these people we're bringing. Land is huge. Shalisa says, I'm Latina and we get the same. It's okay if you cheat, lies, broke, even hits you. Oh my God. I hate it. I hate it so much. Kel says, struggle love is constantly promoted in the Black community. Enough is enough, period. And this even reminds me of Oprah Winfrey's show on the Oprah Network. She has that thing called Black Love. And the show called Black Love, it's essentially just struggle love. It's a bunch of men who treated these women like garbage. Mind you, Magic Johnson, when he was dating Cookie, I think they were featured on it. That man was running around town. He caught HIV and they were featured on Black Love. Like, stop it. I'm so sick of this. Jasmine says, good point, Grace. Women in the 30s, 40s have different expectations than the one. Exactly. And especially if you want to have kids and whatnot, and you're already in your 30s and 40s, no, do not look at a man's potential. Look at where the hell he is. And typically these men are older than you as well, right? So you mean to tell me as a woman, especially for women of color, as a woman of color, someone who is younger than you, I managed to surpass you and I'm supposed to take a chance? No, absolutely freaking not. No. Theo says, this is why I have an issue with people like Tyrese Gibson and Tyler Perry always telling Black women that they need to build up men. Yes. And it feels like putting the responsibility onto the woman. Yes, I agree. I cannot stand it. It is so annoying. I do not know why Black men are so proud of saying things like this, that women need to do this and that for what we are women. The world is sexist against us. We typically make less than you. We're typically younger than you. Why do we need to reach back and support you when you should have been ahead of us already, right? In the sexist world that we live in. No, we're supposed to do everything, then have kids, then take care of the house, take care of the kids. Why? Why would I do that? Lou says, no, as a Latina, we're expected to be taken care of, even if his income is low. My husband is West African and it's the same. Oh, because I was just talking to Jaleesa. She had a different message. Now I want to know what kind of Latinas y'all are. Maybe it's like country differences or something like that. And West African, you know what? My sister, she's dating someone who's West African. He's from Senegal. And in his culture, you have to take care of the woman that you're with. And so she's very much taken care of in that relationship, which I feel like it should be. Brianna says, I took acting classes as a kid, auditioned for multiple Disney parts. I thank God all the time I didn't get any big parts. Amen indeed. Amen. Mick says, you're married to a man that you could step away from your high-paying job when you became a mother. Girl, that's not financially unstable. Exactly. She is playing with our intelligence. She is, because what the hell are you even talking about? What are you talking about? Bye, Hamlet's Princess. Thanks for joining us. Angie says, as a white woman, I feel like men think all we're after is their money because most white women are, sad to say, but true, ruins it for the rest of us. Here's the thing. Most of the men who worry about that don't even make a lot of money to even be worried about that. So they need to pipe it down. They do. Because at the end of the day, with all the things that women have to do and endure in relationships, especially physically, as far as family planning goes, they should have some damn money. They should. Because you're going to take some time away from your career to have their children, right? So why shouldn't he have some money, right? To make sure that you guys are okay. Hamlet's Princess says, oh yeah, I already said bye, Hamlet. Sorry, girl. Nice to see you, by the way. Oh my God. Sweet bonjour. Hey, girl. Says, when I met my ex-partner, he was broke. I was making a little money and saw his potential. After 10 years, he was a complete dud. 10 years. I have to catch my breath. 10 years. Oh, that hit me in the heart. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. He was a complete dud. He works a good job, but has no interest in personal growth. And that is the thing. You have to make sure that you are with somebody who actually plans to get out of the situation that they're currently in, because unfortunately, a lot of times people are in certain situations just because they don't really have much ambition to be in a different place, right? Michelle says, that's what my husband was like, broke, and I forced him to go back to school. He's happy I did. And thank God he listened, because a lot of times these guys won't listen. They just want to coast off of your money, and thank God he listened to you. Ramsey says, I have my dad as an example, how he worked, thought ahead, loved my mom to bits. It's why both marriages failed. They acted ambitious and loving, but when push came to shove, I was so disappointed. Ouch. I am so sorry to hear that, Ramster. You really, really have to make sure someone is on your wavelengths. If you're ambitious, if you want to live a soft life, You know, if you want to make sure you're investing, putting money away, everything, be with someone who's on that wavelength. Don't try to change somebody. Okay, so I see y'all are on the same page after all. You were just thinking of different things temporarily. You guys, I have another story. Is Acacia still here? Because I was thinking about you and I commented on, so Acacia is Houston Rose. I commented on your TikTok video because she was showing off this new hibiscus that she got in her plant. So I've got this new, she's here. She says, I agree with you, Grace. I would never tell my niece who was 20 to settle. Amen. Don't do it. Don't do it, girls. Do not. You bring too much to a relationship to settle for a guy who's just not going to be ambitious and who's not going to, get ish done for you and your family. Don't do it. Oh yeah, so Acacia, she was posting this TikTok video about her garden. So she got this like hibiscus plant and I was asking her, I don't know if she responded yet, if it was like the variety that produces like the juice. So we were talking about West Africans. So someone was talking about how her sister is married to a West African man. So in West Africa, a lot of them, they like to make this drink called bissap. And I'm actually going to be making it later today. So let me tell you why I'm talking about this. So Meghan Markle, right? She had her brand As Ever that just came out in tandem with her show With Love, Meghan, right? Great show, so many recipes to try and whatnot, and I'm still going to be trying them. And it just inspired so many things in me. And so when she launched her product line yesterday, it sold out in about an hour, in under an hour. I wanted to get some things, but unfortunately, she didn't ship to the EU, so I was, out of luck. And it's just so funny because the press was like, "Oh, everything's $25. It's so overpriced." And then it comes out, and no, that's not the case at all. In fact, like her jam that they said was $25 jam was only $9. And mind you, it is a small business, right? It's an artisanal business. And it reminded me that, remember like 2 weeks ago, I told y'all I was going to the like African market, Afro-Caribbean market here in Paris. I do it every single year, twice a year. And so it's like a bunch of artisans as well who sell things. So this year, one of the things that I had got was like a compote, and it's guava and rose. This thing cost me 10 euros. It's completely normal to pay that price, especially for something artisanal. It was delicious. And y'all see how I ate it up. I was putting like little scoops into my Greek yogurt and just eating it like crazy. I loved it so, so much. And there were so many other local things that I bought. And then like last December, I had bought the blush, and it's the blush that I wear in every single video, every single day. I love supporting local, people, local artisans and whatnot, right? And so her product line and whatnot, and her show and everything, I was at this boutique yesterday, and I want to tell it to you guys because sometimes you guys tell me that you want to come to Paris and you're looking for some like insider things about Paris. I was at this store yesterday that reminded me so much of Meghan and her brand. It's called Söstrén Green, and I think it might be Dutch or German. I don't know what it is, but it's like, it feels like you're shopping in somebody's cottage. So I recommend, if you guys come to the EU, even if it's not France, I think this exists in other EU countries, go to Söstrén Green, and you'll find a lot of these cute kind of like, small artisanal like things, right? So this, again, I bought it at the Afro-Caribbean market, so you wouldn't find that there. But y'all know I'm really into drawing and whatnot. And so I found this cute little drawing pad over there. And then I found this thing because I'm going to be making some bissap today, and I will tell y'all all about it. I got this cute little jar to put my drink in, right? Again, this is from like Megan's show really inspired me to get back into like making things around the house, right? So I'm going to be making some bissap. And then there's something else. This one is France exclusive that I really want to put y'all into. People always say Parisians, they get like their beauty things at like the pharmacies, right? You hear a lot about French pharmacy beauty. Guys, the real place that Parisians are hitting up is right here, Aromazone. Aromazone, you will be able to find things for your hair, for your skin, healthy things to eat, like all sorts of things, including like active ingredients. So if you're looking for something specifically to make your hair soft, if you're looking for something specifically to make your hair grow faster, if you're looking for something for this, that, retinol, vitamin C, you go to Aromazone, and it's all natural. Okay, like organic. So we love that. So there I got these fleurs d'hibiscus that I'm going to be using to make my bissap, and I'm going to keep you guys updated on how that goes. I'm really, really excited. So sorry, a little bit of a tangent, but I'm just so excited about some of the beautiful things that that we have here, in France. And I really hope that when you guys are able to come here eventually, that you guys can check them out. So again, that was Sistren Green and Aromazone. I especially recommend Aromazone, especially if you guys are really into hair care, skincare, things like that. Go to Aromazone. You are going to be in heaven. And their stores are absolutely stunning. Shay Davis says complacency and laziness can drag someone down. Exactly, right? And if you're an ambitious person, if you're doing well for yourself, why take the risk to be dragged down by somebody who's just not ambitious, right? Ramster says being Dutch means also that income is Dutch too. What's mine is mine, what's his is his, for example. Ooh, except for when I made more money, right? But, even with that, when you guys want to make, for example, if you make a lot more than him and you want to take on this, you want a certain level of travel, right? Luxury or this or that, it's going to be hard for him to keep up. So that's why I really, really think that, be careful and find someone, who can keep up with your lifestyle. Unless you want to help finance your lifestyle, right? Which is fine, if that's what you want to do as well. Kambule says, I'm in my early 20s and I date up and up only, period. Nancy says she hates gold digging women. It rules for the rest of us that are decent human. I don't think that being ambitious and being successful and wanting your partner to be on the same wavelength is necessarily gold digging at all. And keep in mind, men are gold diggers. Men are gold diggers of youth. Men are gold diggers of beauty, right? That completely different from something as simple as money, in my opinion. Acacia's okay. So Acacia, there you go. I'll keep you and everybody posted on how my journey to making BSAP goes. Again, I'm really, really in love with this. I got this at that store, Sistren Green, and I'm so excited to put it to use. Now, you guys, why amen, Lynn? Why don't we get into the Garcelle story? So I think that Garcelle is being replaced with a certain somebody that we already know and love from Netflix. And it's somebody that a lot of people had been campaigning to get on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, right? So I want to know what y'all think about this. So she's been hinting at it. She's playing coy about it. And her name is none other than Christine Chiu, who we all remember from Bling Empire. Remember this lady? She had all her jewelry in the bank and everything. And then she was just, she was really dead set on being the villain of that show. She did a fantastic job of it. I would be really happy if she came on. Again, I'm going to miss Garcelle. I love Garcelle. However, of course, now that she is leaving the show, we do need to fill her spot on the show with somebody. And why not Christine? Did you guys like her on Bling Empire? Do you want to see her on Beverly Hills? She did an exclusive interview with People magazine, and she said that, yeah, there's been a lot of interest in me joining RHOBH. In fact, I did actually previously have a contract. However, there was a death on my husband's side of the family. My dog got sick, so then it wasn't exactly the right time. But I was just at a wedding with Kathy Hilton, and she was talking to me about joining the show last night. I think it's a fun ride. Maybe I actually have met with execs, but it's definitely in the air right now. But you never know what the future holds. So the future could potentially hold Christine Chiu finally joining the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And mind you, she's got real money, right? We already know Dorit doesn't have money. What does Sultan call her? Porit. So Porit doesn't have money. And then we already know that Erica doesn't have money anymore. So to have somebody like this alongside real money, like Sutton Strack, like Kyle Richards, like Jennifer Tilly, I think that's going to be interesting. And so I really do hope that we're going to see her join the show. And I'm really curious to know if that's something that y'all still would love to see happen. Theo says, I doubt Bravo would hire someone from Netflix. They've already met with her. They gave her a contract. But unfortunately, somebody from her husband's side of the family passed away, and that's why she wasn't able to film, but they did give her that contract. People want her. Shayna says, Megan show's on Netflix. Yes, it is, and it's so good. It's so inspirational. It really, really is. Ali says, someone with the wallet to go after Sutton, and go after she would. Christine is not afraid to be the villain. East Awesome says they don't cast this soon. The reunion is still airing. Christine is creating her own press. And I definitely do think that she is creating her own press for sure, right? How convenient that she's got this People magazine interview. However, I see it being possible. Mind you know what this woman just did the other year? I remember, I don't know if she closed on it or not, but she and her family, they were in France looking for like a full-blown chateau to buy. Like a castle, you guys. A castle. That's the kind of money we want to see. You know what's kind of funny though is that castles here, you could actually buy them for cheaper than you can buy certain houses in Vancouver or in California or other expensive places to live in North America. So listen, if you can afford a nice little $1 million house in LA and Vancouver, and mind you, look at the state of those homes these days, right? For the money that they're asking, you can get a lot more bang for your buck over here. Star is asking, yes, we're back to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, we're a little bit wonky because of the time change, but now we're back to 10 a.m. Eastern. Shayna says, wow, I realized I was 3 minutes. Oh, and sorry about that. Theo says, RHOBH is only looking to cast scammers. Apparently, please do not let Christine Chiu be a scammer. I am so sick and tired of all of these scandals. I cannot take it anymore. I wanted to catch up on some of you guys' comments for the Meghan story that I saw come in. Venetia says, my husband loved Paris when he went there about 30 years ago when he was in the Navy. Ooh, I hope that you guys are able to come back here together when he is, back to feeling like himself again. Shay says, I'll be in Paris for the Beyonce concert Juneteenth weekend also. What was the name of that festival? Shay, I'm going to be there. I'm at the Beyonce concert on Saturday and I have floor tickets. Fête de la musique. Fête de la musique, girl. You are going to have the time of your life. World Music Day is so incredible in Paris. I've been going ever since I arrived in 2020, and I always have the greatest time. Hit me. I don't know if you're on Instagram, or maybe hit me up on email because I'm not really great with Instagram. And I will send you some places that I suggest for you to check out for Fête de la Musique. There's so many great places to go. Wow, how exciting. How exciting. Kristen says, don't be a gold digger, be a gold digger, period. Or why not both? Houston Rose says, let's do a garden club. As soon as I get my garden, I am in there with you. Nobody is going to be able to tell me anything when I get my damn garden. Oh, that's going to be the happiest day of my life. Fête de la musique, Shay Davis. Why don't I write this for you, okay? Fête de la musique. You are going to have the greatest time. You really, really are. It is such a good time. People are so fun, just everywhere, outside, outdoor. People will open their windows and they'll be playing their DJ sets from their apartments. It is the greatest thing ever. Shayna says, we don't need to add be lying to the list of Bravo. Don't do it for us. Amen. Amen to that. Now, you guys, let's get into our final story. I've got someone coming in a little bit here. Let's talk about this creep from 90 Day Fiance. Again, I'm not surprised. This is kind of like the Joe Gatto from Impractical Jokers. Some people just give off a weird, what do you call it? Deviant vibe, right? And even his relationship, seeing him with this girl who looked and dressed like a little girl next to his grown ass, I knew that there was something off about him. So this guy, again, trigger warning because it's a disturbing story. I'm not going to go into deep detail because it is nasty, right? But alas, Mike Eloshway from 90 Day Fiance just got sentenced for possessing and distributing videos of CA. And he is trying to appeal his sentence. And he is saying that the judge was doing too much when the judge sentenced him to 10 years in prison. So in addition to the 10 years behind bars, he was also ordered to pay $10,000 in fine, $5,000 to 2 victims featured in the videos found on his computer. And he was also ordered to serve 10 years of probation after his prison release as well. So he is officially, as of January, checked into the FCI Elkton, a low-security federal correctional facility, serving out his 10-year sentence. And he is not happy about it. And neither is his wife, Aziza. So Aziza was legal when she got with Mike. I think she was about 20 years old. But again, she looked much younger. She dressed much younger. And I remember this being an issue with even his sister. When his sister met Aziza, she was like, I'm sorry, Mike, but this girl looks like a kid. Are you sure you're going to marry this girl? Is she ready to be a wife? She looks so young. She is so young, right? So that definitely set off my alarm bells about him and this situation as well. Very, very disgusting, very disturbing. And the fact that his excuse for possessing this sort of material was, oh, well, by the way, he got arrested for this in 2021. He was like, listen, I was going through so much during the pandemic. I had a bad hip. Since when does going through the pandemic, like we all did, right? We were all on lockdown. Look, the dog doesn't like this guy. Give me a second.
The morning report is brought to you by...
Hang on. So that was so weird because I was not expecting for that to come up when I hit the go away button. My bad. I didn't know that I even had that on file. So sorry about that. But listen, we all went through the pandemic in 2021. It wasn't a hard time. It wasn't an easy time for anybody, right? So to use that as some sort of excuse for any of this is absolutely insane. You know, you had a bad hip. How did that take you over to the dark web or whatever it is that you use to access this sort of material? And not only that, you know, because I think if that were all that he did, he could argue that that's all that he did. However, he distributed it to an undercover police officer. That's crazy. Ali says they need to start vetting people better, right? Shem says, oh my God, WTF, the Eloshways. You remember them? You remember that season of the show? Like that was back in the day, like before people were really getting famous off of this. And before, you know, you got a lot of like the fake couples and the grifters and whatnot. Keisha says he should be in jail. Thank God he's in prison 10 years. And then after that, 10 years of probation as well. Ali says, was an OnlyFans popping off during the pandemic? Did he have one? I had no idea. That's what we do with the channel members. And you're a channel member. Check it out. We're reading right now Caitlin and Tyler's book. So East Austin says, I need to see this puppy. Let's interview oh, you know what? I'm going to bring her on next time. How about that? So Friday, we are going to start off showing her as well. She's a very, very sweet little angel. She really is. I really, really like her. She's just trying to protect me. So I wanted to tell you guys that Mike's wife, Aziza, is also rather upset about his prison sentence. In fact, she wrote to the judge asking for leniency because Mike is a husband and he's a father. I'm always surprised when people who are partners of people who get caught doing this sort of disgusting, just unthinkable, behavior, why they defend them. And then they throw the fact that they have children here as a sympathy. Listen, this person is a danger to children, right? That's why he was sentenced and he was found guilty. So you saying that he needs to be at home with children that he is a danger to is not going to sway the judge. Aziza, what the hell? So let's take a look at what she wrote to the judge, okay? Dear Judge Gowan, I am writing to you regarding my husband, Michael Eloshway, in the light of his recent conviction. My name is Aziza, and I am his wife of 11 years. I have known him for over 12 years and can assure you that this conviction is not a reflection of his true character. Mike is a loving father, a caring husband, a loyal friend, and overall a good and kind person. I met him in 2012 on a learning website where I was studying English language. I am originally from Russia, but moved to the United States over 11 years ago to be with Mike. We had to overcome a lot to be together, and we've built a beautiful family over the years. We have a 5-year-old daughter together. Her name is Olivia, and Mike is a very involved parent. She's very attached to Mike, and he is a very loving and caring dad. They go on father-daughter dates all the time. They share hot, listen, So you mean to tell me that this man who just got found guilty of possessing and distributing CP spends time alone with your daughter? And that's supposed to make the judge want to keep him free? Sorry, Aziza, you're not that smart. Because come on now. Now, this is the second part, sorry, it got cut out, of her letter to the judge. So they make rocks, making bread from scratch, and reading books together. They have their own little routines every day. He always wakes her up in the morning, and he is the one that puts her to bed at night. Again, this is concerning, considering what he gets up to. It breaks my heart that my daughter will not have her father in the full capacity, and I know it will disturb her life greatly not having him around. Take that up with him. He would do anything for his daughter, and it absolutely kills him that he will have to be apart from her. Too bad. Mike is my family and the closest person that I have, and I cannot imagine my life without him. Don't worry, you'll find a new man. He has a kind soul, and he never shies away from helping anyone. He's very close to his parents and his sister, and they have a very strong relationship. They could write to him in jail. He is a rock to his family in so many ways, and this traumatic experience with his trial and conviction has left us all shocked and heartbroken. My family is being torn apart, and I know that he has been tortured by his feelings of guilt and regret for the irresponsible mistake that he made. So you use words like traumatized, tortured, just these very strong words to describe you guys' emotions, right? And his emotions. However, when you talk about the children who were victimized by his actions, you just say, listen, it was a mistake. You're just going to dismiss it. You don't even say anything about how you feel sorry for them and what they endured at the hands of your sicko husband. I greatly appreciate the time you're taking to read this letter and kindly ask you to please take this information into consideration when determining your sentencing for this case. Listen, girl, this does not sway me one bit. If anything, it makes me all the more sure that this man needs to be locked up, because what do you mean he's spending one-on-one time unsupervised with your child? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's crazy. Ronnie says he has a bad hip, but was able to essay in a video. He does that. Does that make sense? What a dummy. All of the excuses that these people have come up with just do not make any kind of sense. East Awesome, 90 Day Fiance isn't going to check anyone. And this isn't the first person from 90 Day Fiance. Didn't Angela's daughter have some kind of similar charges as well? In fact, she was even worse, actually. Allie, he could be live streaming your child for all you know. Lock her up too. Exactly. Daddy-daughter dates. He's the one who puts your child to sleep. Under ordinary circumstances with a normal man, that's great. But with this guy, you highlighting this probably sends chills and shivers down the judge's spine, because it's just, oh, he's not safe to be doing that sort of thing. He's not. All right. Maybe he didn't care. Exactly. Why did he make these decisions? There you go, Rancer. I just said the same thing. Angela Deem, that guy with SADV charges, the weird guy, right? There are so many bad people in the 90 Day Fiance franchise. I'm sorry to say it, it's harsh, but it's the truth. Shem says maybe Aziza doesn't work. They had a baby in 2019. She might be a stay-at-home mom. Very, very unfortunate if that's the case. I do think that could be the case. And, in which case, why would he do this? Even outside of what he did to his family, but why would you victimize children at all? Under any capacity, any circumstance, and then to throw away your family life for this, because I do believe her that this is going to be a huge upset for her, for their children, but it's his fault. It's his fault that she's now going to have to find a job, and work outside of the home when she was so used to being there with her children. It's his fault. I hope he set a lot of money aside, but 10 years, oof. Theo, not a reflection of his true character. He had the illegal content. Exactly. That is his true character. I don't understand why she is supporting him. I wouldn't. I would be scared. I would be wondering everything that was happening when I wasn't there to witness what he was doing, right? Because people like this, I wouldn't put anything past them when it comes to their own children either. Right? Jaleesa, she needs to, either have a conversation with her daughter, put her daughter in therapy and have the therapist ask certain questions. She needs to know if something happened with her daughter And I believe she has a son as well, or her children in general. She needs to know. I hope she's not naive enough to imagine that there's no possibility that anything happened there. I hope nothing happened there. But this is a sick person. This is a depraved person who is capable. Jasmine says, my first thought of, well, right, a lot of father-daughter dates. It's interesting, right? Because if their other child is a boy and a son, I think it's odd that he was never once mentioned. Very interesting. Shay, she was making me sick. Just stop with all of the sympathy stuff. Like he did this to himself. He deserves every minute of it. In fact, the prosecutors were trying to give him 20 years, and the judge was being nice by giving him 10 in prison, 10 of probation. Don't test the judge. In fact, is it, y'all, if the legal eagles, can you let me know if you try to appeal something, can the judge just say, you know what, F you then? F you, and give you more than, what they originally gave you? I don't know. Because if so, I hope the judge does go ahead and say, you know what, let's forget about that 10-year probation. Let's add it to your prison sentence. Shunjam says, this is the city I live in. Too many predators. Oh, really? Really? In the city? He definitely needs to be away from children. That is so sad and scary. Like things you have to worry about already as a parent. And now seeing that this is like in your own house too, scary, scary, scary stuff. And I agree, Ronnie. Jasmine, yeah, it was the brother in the Duggar situation, right? It was the brother, and the parents defended him. The parents, like, they condemned the daughters and everything. Just, so sad. Ali says, McDonald's is hiring, probably Target, probably other corporations, right? You don't need a college degree to get a job. Yeah, sorry, Aziza. Time to put that resume to work, or maybe create some kind of online business or something. But, woof. Yeah, Shamjam, I agree. Check on your children, Aziza. I know you love this man. And here's the thing. She said that when did she say she met him? Because I want to pull out my freaking calculator, because I believe she was 19 when they started dating or something like that, right? How old is she now? Because we're going to pull out the calculator and see when the heck, because I believe that this lady probably was maybe even, limit 18, maybe less. I don't know when they started talking. She's known him for over 12 years. How old? What is her name? Aziza. Hang on. We're going to pull this out, right? If they have 2 kids, it's only telling, right? Why is he so fixated on your daughter, Aziza? Why? Aziza Eloshway. Hang on. Aziza Eloshway age. We're going to find out how old this girl is. She says she's known him for over 12 years. Well, how old are you, Miss Bang? Because we're going to subtract 12 from your age. Mike was 31 years old when he met her. Well, what year did they start? How about that? What year did they get onto the show? Does anybody know? Because we're going to subtract 12 from that. What happened to Mike and Aziza after 90 Day Fiance? Oh, she looks so cute after having the baby. Papa, how do I share my, let me share my screen with you guys so we can see. You know what's so annoying? It's when you click on an article and it has a title leading you to believe it's going to be about one thing, then you open it and it's like about something else. I need to know when the heck these 2 people met, or sorry, their episode aired. How old she is now. So she was 20. Sorry, guys. I might have to look this up afterwards. Oh, sorry. I thought I took this down. I did. I might have to look this up afterwards and then get back to you in the community tab or something, because now I'm curious about how old she really was when they, right? They said she started dating at 21 and he was 31. So how old is she now? Season 1 aired in 2014. So that is 11 years ago. Okay. So that checks out. So she would have been 19 or 20 and he was about 31 or 30. Okay. That checks out. But still, she looked much younger. Yeah, Mick, I know she met him in 2012, but I want to know when their episode aired so I could do like the math surrounding it. But it looks like she would have been 19 or 20 when they started dating online. Or maybe, because he was helping with language learning. Maybe he was helping that with with that. You know what I feel like these language learning apps are based off of how many of these people end up on 90 Day Fiance? It kind of feels like Passport Bros, but for like Passport Bros who can't afford to travel, you know, and they're trying to pick up these foreign girls or something like that. That's the vibe that I'm getting. Isawsome says, statistically, stepdads are most high risk for SA. Ooh, that's true too. It's a very, very sad position to be in. The daddy is a creep. And then there's a risk of this as well when you go out and date, like Isawsome says. Rondi says she sounded like she knew. Too many strong words, like you said. He's scaring her. She needs time and space. Yeah. And this is the thing. When these young girls get in these relationships and like, you know, get saddled up with all this responsibility super young, like it's almost like these husbands are helping to raise them. So even if they do wrong or whatever, they still they can't get it through their heads that this is just, you know, it's like if your parents did something bad, right? Like a lot of people, even if your parents are deadbeat parents to you or something, like sometimes in these cases, the children still want a connection with these deadbeat parents, right? So it kind of feels like that to me, like a form of like a Stockholm syndrome or something like that. So she's 32 by now. Minus 10 is 22. So she's okay, 20-ish, 1920-ish. Okay. It checks out, y'all. It does. But she looked much younger. And this was something. So y'all remember, if you watched their season of 90 Day Fiance, this is something that his sister even said to her. He said, she said, I'm not even sure I'm comfortable with you marrying this like random, you know, little Russian girl because she's from a completely different country and culture. She barely speaks English and she looks like a child. And he just sat there and smiled. I was like, huh, that's weird. Because, and I feel like this is more common in us women. And this, you know, it's so funny because, you know, as you get older as women, right? So I'll give you an example. Maybe like a month ago, I went out like to a bar with my friends and it was like a younger people bar, I guess. Cause like the guys who were coming up to me and asking me for my number, they looked young to me. They looked like they were like in their 20s, like 20, 25-ish, you know? And to me, that looks too young. I'm not into young looking guys, right? And so to me, it weirds me out that somebody who looks as old as this man looks, right? Because despite the fact he's 31 in this image, he looks older. This man could pass for 40, right? And you're sitting there next to a girl who looks like a girl, you know, despite the fact that she's technically 21, she looks like she could be 19. She looks like she could be 18. It's weird. It sets off the alarm bells in my head because just something about it feels so wrong. Anyway, good luck to you, Aziza. On the bright side, is she a citizen by now, I imagine, after 11 years? She put in 11 years, y'all. Shemsham says the language learning apps are a mess. You're trying to exchange language and these men are trying to date you. Right? I got off Hello Talk for that reason. You know what I do for language learning? I asked them to sponsor me, but they never responded to me, but I'm always praising them. I use Pimsleur for language learning. I love it so much. I use it. And then afterwards, what do? I go on Upwork. And then you find someone, you just go searching. People have already set their own rates, or you could set your own rate. Go on Upwork, find a language teacher, partner, whatever, in your language, and then do maybe like an hour a day or something. That's what I was doing, like an hour to 2 hours. Like when I was trying to learn French right before I moved here, I said, listen, I'm bumping this up to 2 hours a day. Then afterwards, I did that for Spanish. It was like an hour a day for 5 days a week. And then that's the magic. And you don't have to deal with the creepy men on these apps. Oh God, I kind of miss it. I'm thinking of starting to learn Italian now, you guys. I'm watching these Italian shows on Netflix and I'm enjoying it so much. I just love language learning. You reminded me of that, Shem Jem. Anyway, you guys, we have come to the end of Thursday's episode of The Morning Report. I hope you had a great time chatting with me. Per usual, I had a great time chatting with you. I'm looking forward to catching you guys again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about the day's hottest stories. If you had fun here, please don't hesitate to leave a thumbs up so that YouTube knows that you were digging this episode, and I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Take good care, you guys. Don't forget, I forgot your name, my beautiful new friend who is coming to Paris for Fête de la Musique. Send me an email, and then I'll let you know what I know about Fête de la Musique, okay, for this year. Take good care of yourselves, you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow for more hot stories. Bye, guys.